Hey, good evening, everybody. It's your old buddy John Kashu from South Jersey Beer Scene, along with a packed house of guests. Up in the upper right, the Greg Brady Square, if there were only four, is Aaron from the Qualified Captain. And you're asking why he's here? We're going to tell you in a minute. Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
Yeah, man, how you doing? Thanks for having me
on. It's great to have you. And down below, we have our old pal Brian Hank, who has officially been on more South Jersey Beer Scene videos than anybody as of tonight. He just beat Rob Callahan is now number 2, and Jason Campbell is now number 3. So, Brian, congratulations for whatever little thing that's worth. And finally, we got the girl on the TV, the boob tube, the screen. It is our friend Courtney Rosenberg, who helped puts these all together every week for us. Courtney, you're the social media director and graphic designer. You're the all-around cheerleader, I think, is part of your job as well.
I like that. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
I've been fighting with Courtney to get on here for a long time, and she is one of my favorite people in the whole industry, and brought me on board to this crazy thing that we do every week, and I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
So we're here for a really cool thing. You guys did another collaboration, but you didn't do it with a beer company this time. You did the now famous Boat Ramp Champ, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen here and show everybody what we're talking about to give a little bit of a we're going to full screen this bad boy. It's Boat Ramp Champ, guys. It's a Helles Lager. It's something new, and it's made in collaboration with our friend Aaron from the Qualified Captain. So first of all, before we get too deep in this, Aaron, What is the Qualified Captain?
Qualified Captain's page that, started out as a simple joke. We're bored at work, and just all of a sudden, next thing you know, it was like started out with like 100.
Was that an old school phone, or was that your cell phone?
Of course, we just get started. I get a phone call from New Jersey too. Anyway, no, Qualified Captain is really just a person that doesn't take the time to really, learn a thing or two, and they just hop on a boat and go. It's not like, they buy these expensive $200,000 boats and just get on and ride like it's a car. Now there's a lot of different rules and regulations, and when you try to help them, I work in the industry. You try to help some of these people, and they get frustrated. They turn you down. Some of them get nasty, and I was like, you know what, whatever. Just then you go crash into the bridge or whatever. So, and so we started an Instagram page with it, not thinking it would go anywhere. And the next thing you know, you got over 100,000 followers, and people are sending you this crazy stuff you see every day. It's crazy.
And it's funny because 100,000 followers, that is a lot of followers to get, and it means that, and you keep that follower number up, you get a ton of content, and it's really, really great stuff. Excuse me. But not only are you an Instagram page, you also have a cool clothing line that you guys do.
Yeah,
and, And I'm gonna pop that up just so everybody can see where it is. And I'm sure that we can get the links and everything for you, but you do some cool clothing lines, some hats, some shirts, some tees, some graphics, some accessories. Yeah. It's kind of turned into a cool business. So from what I understand, somebody started annoying you via email until you decided to make a beer, or am I off a little bit?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I get all these.
Annoying is not the right word.
Slid into the DMs. Come on, slid into the DMs.
Emails, DMs, and I get so many. I mean, eventually Instagram will actually delete your messages. And I was just scrolling through one day, and I saw May Brewery. I'm like, oh, sweet, Jersey. I wonder what they want. My sister's been there. She talks, great about them, and they saw they want to do a collaboration, and I was so stoked because I've been wanting to make a beer for a long time. I mean, I've been already 2 years into the Qualified Captain, and people are telling me, make a beer. And I was like, well, here's the best brewery to do it with, May Brewery. Turned out great. So, I was going through my messages and saw that. And then next thing you know, we worked our asses off, and boom, it turned on.
So you guys have done a lot of collaborations with breweries, and I know you've done, you did one with Villanova some time back and a couple other things. This is a little different than your normal collaboration. So you're not dealing with a beer guy. No offense, Aaron, because we're all beer guys somewhere. And we're all in there.
At all, honestly, I was so stoked when I got this.
So how do you approach this, Brian? And Brian, for you guys that don't know, Brian is a production planning and special events coordinator or special projects manager for CNBC. So how do you get started with something like this?
So, Courtney and I, we were talking about it early last fall, actually, September, October, kind of first brought up, and thinking about the whole, like, the boating thing and everyone putting the boat in. At that time, everyone's getting the boat out of the water. And we were like, all right, maybe we table this, make it a spring release. And, on the back end, Courtney and Alicia, the whole marketing team, were working with Aaron and like going back and forth, seeing what it would look like. And soon enough, Bill, very soon, Bill. So then we got talking about what the next steps would be, like what the liquid would be, and so they had like Q&A essentially with Aaron, trying to figure out like what kind of beers he was into, and like make sure that the liquid would tie to both brands and tie to Aaron and the qualified captain and everything. And we were kind of talking about it, and it's like, well, one, it's a boat-in beer. Like after you've done a day out on the water, you come back and you clean your boat, or you clean up some fish, or just like hosing off all the crap. Like you just want something light, something crushable, something real drinkable. And we love lagers, especially on the production team. Like all the guys on the floor out there just love crushing lagers. And we don't do a ton of them. When we do them, we do a great job, I think. Yeah. And we just don't do enough of them. And we're as likely to put out a chocolate covered strawberry milkshake IPA as a key lime kettle soured IPA. And so then to do a clean, easy drinking Helles lager kind of comes out of left field sometimes. But this was like the perfect opportunity to put that kind of beer out there. And so as we were starting to design it and see when it would come out, okay, spring beer. Those are two of my favorites too, Timmy. It's just like light, easy drinking, perfect for the springtime, perfect for after a day out on the water, boating, doing your thing. Obviously, we don't condone drinking and boating. I think no. Yeah. But like if you're a passenger on the boat, sure, go ahead and drink a few of these. On that page. Don't. If you want to wind up on Aaron's page, go ahead and do that. But
Aaron's page is almost like the videos they show you the night before the prom in high school. Say, this is what you're not supposed to do.
Don't drink and drive.
Some of them are funny. That's Chris Martin, everybody, America's House Guest, who loves that crispy boy. That's almost it's kind of like the we've all seen it living at the shore. We've all seen some of this. Yeah, and it's craziness, but I mean, it's a fun site. But you guys also do a lot with education. I see, and going through your site about getting people certified as boat drivers. Or
yeah, I mean, we just started doing that. I mean, especially this year, that was one of my goals because, like, I've got a huge reach now, and I could do more than just tear people apart, and like, but I mean, a lot of people ask me these questions, like, how does this even happen or whatever, and so I teamed up with this, this guy down in South Florida is called Lazy Locations. You could look him up on Instagram, and his link's on mine. And so if most states don't require a boating license if you're over like the age of 27, 28. So you can literally hop on a boat and go. And
everybody thinks you can just do that, which is amazing to me.
And more about Lazy Locations, his class that he's got is more than just like the basic cartoon thing that the state makes you pass. No, he's teaching you like, okay, how to set anchor and like how to use your power pole, how to go up on a dry rack if you have one, that kind of stuff, and he breaks it down. And I mean, we've had a lot of good feedback about it. So I'm going to continue with that and, try to hopefully, honestly, in the long, down the road, you look back and you say, we might have made the boating community a little safer,
That's a great idea. So let's get back to the beer real quick. So it's a Helles Lager. And Joanne's asking us, what is the feel of the beer and the flavor?
It's super light, easy. I mean, refreshing is the word, I think.
And I guess crushable is what I like to talk about. This kind of beer. Like you can like thoughtlessly just chug it back. I mean, a Helles, you go to a nice traditional German beer hall and you got, big old, liter glass, big Stein glass, and you slug it back, and it's great.
Hold that up, Aaron.
Yeah, it's
look, guys.
I can see through it. I knew it was going to happen.
You can see through it. And you guys actually, you never stop innovating. You actually used the new lager malt in this, which was kind of cool. I was reading about it. You used the Simpson. I think it's the first time you've used it. And this is a little nerdy, but to the point that it's something totally new that you've never done before.
Yeah, I mean, we always try to make the best beer that we can. And when a beer comes to a Helles, what would be like a Helles, we're looking for the purest ingredients and the purest, techniques we can deploy to it, and this really good brewing practices. And so we very carefully selected there's only a couple, very, very few number of ingredients in a beer like this. Nowhere to really hide any flaws. It's not like a super dry hopped beer, not heavily fruited, not a really yeast forward beer like a wit or a saison or one of our sours might be. Yeah. So you really got to deploy like the best quality ingredients that you can. So yeah, we chose the right malts and the hops, and just pick the right parts for this beer.
And we should circle back a little bit. So I think one of the things that maybe Brian, and you said this, but I think in a different way, you can't hide anything in this beer. Simple beers are the hardest to make. That's why you don't see a lot of Pilsners and a lot of lighter see-through beers, because you can't hide flaws. And to your point, Brian, that look how clear that is. You can't hide the flaw. There's nothing you can hide. You can't say, well, crap, we messed this up. Let's throw a can of mango in it. It's just not going to work. Mm-mm. So it's a testament to brewers that can make that. I bet you that the first thing that Brian does when he goes and visits another brewery, looks up there and sees what the most simple beer that they have is and tries it. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If I go to a brewery, a craft beer especially, and they have, they have a Pilsner on tap, I'm going to give it a go. And if they could execute that well, I have no doubt that everything will just be awesome and flawless and done well. Because it's just a technically challenging beer to make, because it's very simple. There's nowhere to hide a flaw. You don't have the proper techniques on the hot side, or your yeast management isn't up to snuff, and you're not treating your yeast right, or you're trying to rush it out, or you're just not putting the right patience into it. You're gonna mess it up. And so beer is a very delicate beer, and it's very very easy to mess up. So
yeah, and not a lot of people do it well, and it's especially tough in the environment. In a smaller environment, you have a little bit. What I'm trying to say is it's not the easiest beer to make. And
I remember when I visited Brian, that was the first thing he told me. He said, and I was shocked because I'm not a brewer. I don't know anything about it really. And he was telling me, he's like, man, believe it or not, this is actually way harder beer to make than most of ours. And it takes a lot longer too. And I when he told me that, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I would never think that,
Yeah, and they never take the easy way out, Aaron. I will tell you that. They always come up with something new and exciting. We have a pretty good hotbed of brewing down here in Cape May County. And what's interesting is that we have a lot of people that do something different, and Cape May has led the way in a lot of that with some of their sour programs and barrel aging and stuff like that. It's been a really, really cool thing. Our friend Al up there, apparently he lives in Long Island. He wants to know if you can get your beer up to Long Island. Well, they're not going to commit anything, but not yet.
You can take a little drive to North Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really close.
Yeah, you're pretty close. I mean, actually, you guys, your reach has become pretty cool. Everywhere around the state, I've seen Ryan and the owners on the back of a truck at some point waving at me, which is kind of cool. So, you guys got the beer out. So, Courtney, your job at Cape May. Let's talk about your job real quick at Cape May. Okay. It may not sound interesting, but tell us exactly. So, where do you come in when we're doing all this kind of stuff? So, what is your role?
It varies. Well, for this project, it was kind of like Ryan. So, Ryan Krill is a big fan of Qualified Captain, and one day just was like, you ever heard of Qualified Captain? I think we should reach out to see if we can do something. And that's kind of where the conversation started. And I reached out and her right back, and we had a discovery call and went from there. So I've been helping a little bit with some of these brand collaborations, but mostly my job is handling our social media following that's kind of growing like crazy.
It's nuts.
And helping with creative. So I help with a lot of naming the beers and the inspiration for the artwork that we send over to Canales & Co., which is our design group we use out of Austin, Texas. And they're amazing. Yeah, so they helped. So for this artwork, just to talk on this, so Boat Ram Champ is something that Aaron has on his page. It was a design that they already had. It's a hashtag that he uses. It gets popular feed. It's basically like a Boat Ram Champ is somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, takes their truck or car, and just goes right into launch their boat. Next thing you know, the boat is in the water with the car. So we love that. We approached right away. We kind of fangirled and fanboyed out. We're like, we love this. And when we look to naming beers, we always look for would it be a good bar call? Would it be a good memorable name? And something that's going to stick in somebody's mind. So it was really organic how it just built from there.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I cut you off.
And just the artwork is cool too, because I mean, to get into the artwork with this, so the artwork is inspired by a piece of artwork that Qualified Captain already had, but we did our own little tweak on it. So we, have Ryan and Bob are on the front, like you just showed, and Aaron and his, this one cuts off, but Aaron and his sister, like back here on their boat, which is actually his boat that he owns.
And I'll send you, John, a picture of my boat. I mean, you can't miss. Now that you see that picture on there, you're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Cuddy cabin on the bow where you can it's a little 23 center console, but you got a little cuddy cabin where you can go hide out on, and it sticks out there.
And we have the coastal evacuation truck is on, the can, and the "at least you tried" is a saying from his social media. Hey, at least you tried, boat ranch. So it was really organic of how this all came together, and it was honestly for our first time doing a massive brand collaboration. We were like really lucky to work with them, and
this is my honestly, Courtney. I mean, and this is my biggest collaboration too. I mean,
yeah.
I just thought, honestly, just doing this to start, I thought I was just an Instagram page, but now it's way, we're doing a lot more now. This year, the goal was to, kind of get more involved with collaborations and helping out events, sponsoring events, stuff like that. So,
man, you guys did a good job. You picked a good people to do that collaboration with.
I was so, like I said, I was so happy when I got that message.
It's cool. Did you guys did you know that he was a Jersey boy?
No. It was honestly so when we started the conversations, his sister Lauren was like, crushing it. Like, I love crushing it. Like, I had crushing it when I was at LBI last summer. Oh my gosh, crushing it. So Alicia and I were on this call fall, I guess it was, with you and your sister. Yeah. And it was just like, Lauren was like, I love crushing it. It's like, we love you. Well, and it was kind of from there
for a while. So yeah, she was really familiar with Cape May Brewery. I've been down in Wilmington, North Carolina for going on 8 years now. But so yeah, my sister loved Cape May Brewery. When I asked her, tell me about Cape May Brewery? She's like, that's probably one of the top breweries in New Jersey. I mean, if not number one. So I was like, well, let's do it.
Yeah, you got a good one to do your first collab with, that's for sure.
And the cool part, my sister, I don't know if I forgot to mention this, but she's, she did all the design work for us, for majority of it. I mean, so anything that you see, that's kind of how it all really started into that clothing brands, because she started making this artwork. I'm like, Lauren, let's make a t-shirt. Boom, so.
That's very cool. And one of the nice things about Cape May, to everybody that's out there watching, is that you guys actually do some really cool things with your cans. And with your, with what goes in. And I'm gonna bring this up real quick. So the other new one that's out that you guys are doing is this Makefest. That just came out on the 9th, I think, which is fantastic, by the way. It's a New England style IPA. What's very cool about what you guys do with your cans is that you do this stuff. I don't know, well, it's gonna be hard to see on here, but it tells you what it pairs with. I mean, it gives you a little bit of a profile on what's in the beer. It tells you where it's made. I mean, what's in it, and that's really, really cool to go that extra mile, because that's not easy, right, Courtney and Brian?
No. It's a collaboration internally. Brian knows with helping build the recipe for these beers, if not fully building the recipe for these beers, he knows exactly what it's going to be, what it tastes like, what the inspiration is, what the hops will be. He knows everything, and then he passes on his knowledge of everything to the marketing team. And from there, we dissect it to help build, the artwork and some better understanding of what it will pair with and what the description could say. So it's not just, one person kind of putting this together and throwing it out there. It's, understanding what, and sometimes we have fun. Don't get me wrong. We say it pairs well with the sun or beach chair, but that's also our vibe.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get technical with it. When we put sushi on the side of a can, we mean you should really try sushi with this bear.
And I'm going to talk about this. Go ahead, Brian.
Courtney mentioned, collaboration where, internally, as I'm designing the beers and if we're making small batch pilot beers to then scale up, or sometimes a lot of them, Boat Ramp, we didn't brew a pilot. We just went all in on the first batch. And, a lot of times we still do that. And so it's really kind of knowing what the ingredients are going to give us and what that final product's going to be. And so I'll write the description, the profile as we call it, and I'll write that based off what the liquid's going to taste like or what it should taste like. and then we'll pass it off to the marketing team, and then they'll make their edits for grammatical correctness, which is not even grammatically correct, and they'll make their edits, they'll send it over, and then I'll actually get a chance to kind of volley it back, and we'll kind of go back and forth to make sure that okay, yeah, make it grammatically correct, but we need to also make it to the beer speaker. So we're talking about verbiage to describe the hops and the mouthfeel and the profile. It needs to make sense to what you're drinking.
Yeah.
It can't just be a dictionary definition of what these words mean. And so it is truly a collaboration. We do go back and forth, and a lot of times we'll hit it right out of the gate, and I'll write the copy based, describing the beer essentially, and then marketing will put a tweak or two to it, and then all right, we're good to go. And then, or other times it'll kind of go back and forth a little bit more, and they'll put a spin on it, and then I'll put a spin on it, and then we'll kind of weave back and forth and come up with that final product. And as Courtney said, the pairings, the pairings make sense. We want the pairings to be something you can go try. The serving glass that it's in is a suggestion, but there's a reason behind that suggestion. So we try to be informative and go with it that way.
And it's good because for somebody who likes this beer, they can go in here and say, well, these hops I know I like this. Let me find something else. So these are the new shampoo bottles and cereal boxes for me. What's really cool is that there's no space wasted on here. On this one, it says no fruits were harmed in the making of this beer. So, and it's a very tropical, fruity beer. There's no fruit in it. You guys just use the natural aromas and juices and the hops and your production to do that. So this is Makefest. That's out everywhere. I just picked this up today down the street because the Qualified Captain was already sold out, but keep looking for it because it's a really good beer.
I can't wait to try that one. That sounds amazing.
We'll get you some.
Joanne reached out. Aaron, you missed the name of your beer company. Aaron does not have a beer company. Yeah. Aaron has a multimedia page on Instagram, and he also has a clothing line. So Aaron, tell us how we can get to your pages, I guess would be the best way so people can see what's going on.
If you don't have Instagram, just type in the Qualified Captain, on Google. It'll first thing come up is our website and our Instagram page. I just started using it. I love it, that link tree. So I got more involved. I'm on a Facebook. The new TikTok thing everybody likes, so I had to get one of those. And then a couple the boating safety courses on there too. So if you Google just the Qualified Captain, all that stuff comes up. And you can reach all that off on my website as well. So
yeah. And if you're on Instagram, if you search the Qualified Captain, or if you go to Kate May's site or Kate May's page or my page, you can look. We follow that.
Yeah, everybody, we all tag each other,
and we tag each other
nonstop. So
yeah, so it's a cool page. So we're getting about 6:23. So every month on this, I try and come up with a little question. So I'm sitting here going, man, it's getting a little bit harder. We've done the desert line, we've done this. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I'm a little bit older than y'all. Yacht Rock is a thing, right? You guys are aware of what Yacht Rock is. Aaron, you aware of what Yacht Rock is?
Yeah.
So Yacht Rock is what I listen to around my pool, and I have flashbacks from when I was in 7th grade. It's the most awesome thing ever. So we're going to be out on a yacht. We're going to just say you're drinking the Qualified Captain. Let's just be over and saying that's what I'm drinking on my yacht safely with somebody that's operating the boat that's not drinking.
You're going to have a Qualified Captain running the boat while you're drinking.
Okay. What is that song that you're listening to on that yacht while you're drinking the Qualified Captain? So we're gonna let you have some jeopardy thinking about this, and I'm gonna go first because I feel like I only knew one song by this guy, but since I started listening to Yacht Rock, I realized that he had plenty of them. My guy would be "Ride Like the Wind" by Christopher Cross.
Yeah,
I've listened to that song many, many times, and I think that my wife, she says, she's like, I didn't know he had that many songs. So he won the Grammys for the best record of the year that year and as best new artist, and then he faded away. So he faded away.
And Yacht Rock was named mainly after Christopher Cross's song "Sailing."
Yes,
"Sailing" is a beautiful song.
Covered by international pop stars in sync.
I've never heard of them before.
Down Eastern
covered "Sailing."
Down Eastern Alexa by Billy Joel. If there's any sailing song that you want to crush a beer and just, I don't know, I'll go out in the inlet here in the sunset and listen to that song. It's a classic.
That's an anthem.
Yeah.
So John, similar to you with Yacht Rock, like Boz Scaggs, everyone knows Lido Shuffle, right? And once I, really got into the yacht rock genre about maybe 3 or 4 summers ago, I was on a big cross country road trip in late August, and it was kind of the perfect soundtrack to it. And Boz Scaggs, Lido Shuffle, knew it, loved it, great song. Never really saw anything else out by him. Hands down, one of the best artists, especially under the yacht rock genre umbrella. 100%. Lowdown, phenomenal Boz Scaggs songs. But I would say Georgia from Boz Scaggs is probably my number 1 yacht rock song. I could listen to that over and over again. So.
Awesome song. And Boz Scaggs, I love when his name comes up. I can remember when Lido Shuffle was out, I had the 45.
What's a 45?
Exactly, guys. The 45. Guys are babies. So what we know, real quick, I know you guys like to give us a little sneak peek of what's coming up. So you got any tidbits for everybody? Look, I know the Crushing It tweet went out and it got retweeted like 5 million times across the internet. People, the Crushing It, it's coming or it's out. Is it out already?
Crushing It's out. It's the Grove we keep on getting harassed about.
Oh,
I love it. I mean harassment in a very sweet way. I love you all.
Yes, of course.
I can post a picture of like Brian just like looking out into the distance. And people are like, where's the Grove? It will be coming later this month into May. Like it is coming. It's just we can't put everything out at one time.
And I did want to mention you had a couple brewery only releases.
Yeah.
The one that was just out, the cherry lime.
That comes out Friday.
It's coming out on Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, because I need that.
Well, yeah.
that is very those that come out. I'm not a fruity beer guy, but man, you guys do such a great job with it. It's a heavy duty shandy. It's an imperial shandy.
Yeah, it's an 8%.
So Brian, talk to us a little bit about that imperial shandy. What is it called? And
so it's called that cherry lime good. We did it about maybe 2.5 years ago. The very first year that we were doing these tasting room only releases, we were kind of trying to come up with some like more outlandish, like, oh, let's try this out. And on the production floor, anytime we would brew the Bog, which is our 3.9% cranberry lemonade shandy, everyone would joke on the floor like, oh, what if we did like a double dry hop version? What if we did an imperial Bog? And like we would kind of joke, and then it was like, imperial Bog, actually, that kind of works. And so we started talking about it, and we decided we were going to do an imperial Bog. We didn't want to call it imperial Bog. That was kind of weird. And so then Courtney and the marketing team, they came up with that cranberry good. And so we're like, okay, 8%.
Somebody used to call it beer good all the time. I feel like one of the sales guys, but
I love it.
So we were like, oh, that cranberry good. And then we were going into last spring, I guess, we were discussing other beers to do, and we were like, well, that cranberry good did really well. Let's do another imperial shandy. Like, why not? We'll do a couple times throughout the year. And we used to do a beer called For Sure, which was Courtney's actual. She designed that beer many years ago, and cherry lime shandy awesome, did really well. And we kind of it fell by the wayside. We kind of stopped doing it, and I'm sure we'll bring it back one day. But we were like, let's do an imperial version of For Sure. We'll call it, that cherry lime good. And then we did it again this past winter in February with, we have a beer called the Perp, which is a purple grape shandy. And we were like, let's do a purple or that grape good. And so, so it kind of became this thing where we, 8% version of the original, shandy that we've done. So that cherry lime good is a 8% tart, sweet, sugary, doesn't taste like beer. So it's fun. It's a definite
in
fun.
A good way. In a really good way.
I will say, for the person who asked about Follow the Gull, very soon. Very, very soon. We haven't announced it yet, but keep your eyes peeled for the Gull.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The other thing that's coming up is what you guys do every year. You're a sponsor of the Exit Zero Jazz Festival, and actually you're a host location. So if we go, we're going to run a little bit over, and I know you guys don't care, but I want to talk about this a little bit. The Exit Zero Jazz Festival, it's a big Cape May tradition. I mean, it's a national event. People come from all over for it. So can you speak to a little bit to what's going on with that, one of you?
Yeah, so Exit Zero Jazz Festival is an incredible time. This is actually the 10th anniversary, I believe, of it. And so we've been a sponsor for as long as I can remember. I've been with the community for 8 years now, and as long as I can remember, we've been sponsoring it. And it's grown every year, and it's always been a super fun festival. It was always spring and fall, and it was in Cape May, and bunch of the different bars in town, and obviously COVID threw a giant wrench in the plans last spring, so they had to get canceled for last spring. They brought it back for the fall, but it was a completely different feel because it was all outside, and so for the first time, the brewery was actually a host venue for it, which was awesome. And you know, I love music. I love live music, and not being able to see music for so long was heartbreaking. And then so it was first or second weekend of October, the Jazz Fest came back, and it was just amazing to see live music. It was so cool. It was just it was so invigorating and just uplifting. And so it's coming back next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All around there's 5 venues. So the brewery is one of the venues, Hawkhaven Winery, Naughty Spirits Distillery, over the ferry terminal, and then the beach outside of
Yeah.
I might have
you gonna come up there for it? Because
trip, man.
it's awesome.
It's a good time. They do a really great job.
That sounds awesome. I love it.
So
really
yeah,
good artists.
we have the if you go to Exeter Jazz Festival's website, the schedule's on there. We are part of their one pass. It's called a Hops Pass. It gets you into a few venues. Like Brian said, it's 3 days long, and it's a really good time. So we have it also on our events calendar, so capemaybrewing.com. And it's up on there who's playing each day in our botanical garden. So it's out back of the tasting room. You do need a ticket to get in, but they're selling different passes for out each day if you want to come, or throughout the weekend.
Cool.
It's awesome. It's so worth it.
Yeah, I already told myself I'm coming back this summer before the end